let's talk about this O'Neill helmet. I believe it is O'Neill Sierra 2. This is a budget helmet without a doubt. I picked this up because I thought I was going to do some dirt riding with some friends out in Johnson Valley. We had a planned weekend and I still had some of my old dirt bike riding gear, but I didn't have a helmet, and all the helmets he had were XLs, nothing fit. So I went out online, I started looking at just kind of some budget helmets, just something that would get me through that weekend of riding in the dirt without spending a lot of money. And I came across this O'Neill Sierra and looked nice, and actually it is a nice looking helmet. I mean, I like the graphics on it, the color scheme. I mean, I ended up picking this because it kind of matches my bike and my suit that I have. It's pretty much gray and black. I thought I would probably just use this for the dirt bike riding, but when I did come across this particular helmet, I noticed that it was more adventure bike oriented, which I'm out on my KTM 1290 Super Adventure, and I thought, well, maybe I'll use it. I've been looking for an actual adventure helmet, but I was definitely looking at things that were in a higher price range, but I thought I could still use this in the meantime. I've never really bought a budget helmet per se. I guess if you go way back, I think when HJC was first entering the market, I had a few HJC helmets that were probably considered budget at that point. I think HJC's up their game a little bit when it came to street bike helmets, and I haven't had one in years, but ever since then I've owned a Rise. I currently have an X-Lite, helmets that are a little higher price range with more features. This O'Neill, I mean, I have to say overall, it's when I first tried it on, I ordered a medium, and that's kind of what I take in most helmet manufacturers. And it fit great, snug fit, but very comfortable. So when I put it on before riding, I thought this should be pretty good, decent helmet. I mean, it is definitely no frills helmet. There's only one vent control to operate up front here, and when you've got a camera mount like what I have, you can't operate it. So and you're blocking the vent even if it's open. So the venting on this, very basic. There's no controls for opening and closing vents up on the top of the helmet itself, but airflow's decent. I mean, we're out here in between 60 and 80 degrees right now, depending on the area we've been riding through. We're over in Borrego Springs, and it was pushing 80. I never felt like it was too hot or wasn't venting properly, or coming to these areas that were a little cooler, that it was venting too much, almost kind of making things more on the chilly side. But so the venting is very basic. It comes with a clear shield. I put a dark shield on this, and I did that because you'll see a drop down visor, sun visor in here, which is operated by this, but you'll notice that once you get it down once, it doesn't want to stay in position. For whatever reason, this side of the lens won't lock in, and I can't quite figure out why. I haven't spent enough time to mess with it. It doesn't look like it's broke, but I can't quite tell what's going on in there, and I just haven't spent the time to doing it. So it's a very basic operation. I mean, it's similar to a lot of adventure helmets, some sort of mechanical latch on the side that slide to pop that down and get the sun visor, which is kind of nice if you're having a clear shield and you're potentially riding at night, so you've got the best of both worlds. So I was kind of excited that it had that, but it's not operating well. So, again, budget helmet. This is under a $200 helmet. And so I decided, I spent another 20 some bucks, and I ended up picking up a dark shield and just riding this past weekend with the dark shield, which has been fine. You notice I installed a Cardo on this. It's very simple to do. I mean, unfortunately, Cardo makes it pretty easy to put their mounting cradle on just about any helmet. I haven't had any issue yet. So I popped one on here before I took off this weekend. Got my GoPro mount up on the front. Haven't any issues with those operating or working. Again, helmet's comfortable. I would say it's not the most quiet helmet, that you're going to have out here on the street and doing street riding. But if you're doing more off-road and you're not at higher speeds, I think this helmet is more than quiet enough. I mean, I run with either earplugs or earbuds if I'm listening to music, and or if I've got a Cardo unit, I've got earbuds plugged into it. I don't put speakers in the helmet. So I either have earbuds or earplugs, and that dampens a lot of the noise with these helmets. But I can tell this one's definitely a little bit, you can hear the wind a little bit more. So this is my first budget helmet, something under 200 bucks. And I have to say, overall, I think the quality is pretty decent, other than the that internal shield not operating correctly, which is, you know, kind of a big thing, because that's probably one of the features. But, you know, for something that's under $200, very basic helmet, I haven't had any real complaints with it riding this weekend. It's been pretty decent. I've got another adventure helmet on order, the Aero Commander 2, which a lot of people really like and have done good reviews on. So it'll be interesting, the difference, because it's more than twice the price of what this is. Expecting it to be a little bit more feature rich, the internal visor to work without any issues. So yeah, I would say, I mean, if you're just looking for a basic helmet, much like what I was originally planning to do for a weekend of riding in the dirt, and not spending a ton of money, this is actually a pretty good value. And overall, I like the looks of it as well. The visor, you know, there's no quick release on any of this stuff. There's no quick release on the shield or taking the peak off. It's operating these screws. Fortunately, they're set up to where you could use like a quarter or a dime to literally get in there and pop those off, and the peak comes off, and then you can replace the shield if you want to swap between dark or light. So very basic. Not something you're going to probably do a lot on the road, but I don't find myself doing that when I'm out on the road. And if I'm going for a weekend ride like what I'm doing, I'm using a dark shield like this, and it's more than adequate for the riding throughout the weekend. So yeah, very basic, but overall nice looking helmet, and the interior around this is very plush and very comfortable. So if you're considering O'Neill, yeah, it's all based on you know, if this is going to be your long-term helmet, then you might want to go something up a little bit higher. But if this is something you want to turn to on going out and riding some dirt occasionally, or just doing some other weekend rides, or having one for a passenger on the back of your bike that may not be getting on the bike that often, this is a good low budget option, I think.